What's going on, everybody? Patrick OJ here, Mr. Matthew Wells, Mr. Drake Riggs, doing our 2020 MMA End of the Year Awards. And we've got the Male Fighter of the Year for you. Our pick at the Body Lock is Deiveson Figueiredo. A very, very tight race, this one, as Kevin Holland was right behind him. And then we had Jan Blachowicz in a pretty distant third. But, I mean, this was some dissension amongst the ranks, boys. So I'll go ahead and, kick it off to Mr. Wells to start, as always. And before I do, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notifications so you can let us know where you fall on the side of this argument, because I think we may have an argument on this one. So, Mr. Wells, you're up first. Who did you have as your number one pick, and what do you think about Figueiredo winning the overall Male Fighter of the Year?
I think it's a great spot because that's who I had as my number one. So it's nice to see that he won. Listen, you beat Joseph Benavidez twice, followed up with a slick ass guillotine on Alex Perez, and then of course the Fight of the Year contender. How can you not? How can you not have him up there? At least at, if not number one, he better be your top three. Somebody on this panel. But listen, he had an impressive run this year, and I know some people will kind of knock, the first fight against Benavidez because he missed weight, and that's why they had to run it back. And either way, he made weight. Hey, same result in less time. But just an impressive run, man. And the guy, like, when he fought Alex Perez, he just looked like that unbeatable champion. Like, he had that aura already, like, wow, like this dude just looks like he's about to go on a tear through this division. And then hold up, Brandon Moreno said, not so fast, but he still put a lot of effort out in that fight. Some people thought he won that fight. I mean, I'm not mad at the draw, of course, but how can you not have him in that conversation, man? Just enjoyable fight after enjoyable fight, 4 times out. I don't know. Hey, number one for me.
Yeah, before we throw it over to Drake, who, surprise, is the member of this panel who didn't have Figueiredo on there, in case you didn't know. Gonna spoiler alert you there. I had him as my number one as well. It was extremely close for me, mainly because you had Kevin Holland, who had, just a crazy year, right? You had the ridiculous knockout over Jacare to end the year, has won 5 fights in 12 months during a pandemic. And you had a surging contender now who is really looking to step up the competition once he goes up against Derek Brunson, hopefully this March without any hiccups there. And you had Figueiredo, who, again, beat Benavidez twice. The weight miss was a little bit of an issue for me. And the foul in the Moreno fight that caused the draw, it made me question it. It made me hold some pause there, just because, again, those are 2 fights that then are a little bit, you got to draw because he fouled Moreno, and you had a missed weight opportunity where he didn't win the belt when he probably should have. That being said, as you mentioned, for me, looking at the performances, it's clear he's just on that next level. He's lost 1 time to Jussier Formiga when he had to cut a ridiculous amount of weight short notice, 37 pounds, I believe it was, which is insane. And then other than that, he's been kind of unstoppable. And that's not taken away from Formiga. I mean, Formiga did a really great job to neutralize him too. But I mean, Figueiredo for me this year just edged Holland out with his performances. I think the competition was very tough. I think he looked masterful in his wins, and in the draw and the weight miss. I mean, he won the weight miss fight, and the draw, I could have given it to him. I would have, if not for the foul and the point deduction. So I get that. With that all being said, Drake, he was not on your list. Why? Let us know, because you need to defend yourself. Just do right now.
All right, listen. Let me start this out by saying I am all for Figueiredo winning this. I am all for the flyweight love. Makes me very, very happy that he is pretty much unanimously the fighter of the year in most people's opinions. But for me, the thing that disqualifies him is the fact that he didn't win every fight. Yeah, he didn't lose, but he didn't win, right? He had a draw. The weight thing for me isn't as much of a factor as the fact that he didn't win all of his fights. Yeah, you got to count it a little bit, I guess, but that's pretty much the thing is that he didn't go a clean winning streak in this year. Yes, undeniable, best quality of competition, best performances probably overall, a fight of the year thrown in there, but it's just because he didn't win. Okay. I mean for that, but that's my reason, right? That's my main reason is that he didn't win every single fight. So Kevin Holland for me takes the cake in that case. 5 wins, 4 TKOs, 1 crazy off the back knockout. That was a fight of the year, not a fight, knockout of the year contender over Jacare, who, it's a crazy guy to do that to on the ground and everything. Big win there. And he also knocked out, the poster boy for the highlight reel of all highlight reels, Joaquin Buckley, which, people kind of forget because of what he's done since then. But yeah, that's just, I don't think I have to explain too much about this if he's automatically disqualified, but that's my reason. Hate me for it. I don't care.
I mean, I gotta say that I can see that reasoning. I certainly can. Again, for me, it was tough because part of the reason that I chose him over Kevin Holland, I thought, at least in my opinion, and I know I'm going to get some flack for this, so I'll go ahead and draw some fire my way, Drake, is that I thought Darren Stewart might have edged out Kevin Holland in that fight, right? He still got the win, but it was close. And so that kind of negated the draw for me when it came to Figueiredo, because Figueiredo, you had a fight of the year contender against Moreno. That was a foul that I do agree with the point being taken, but a lot of people were saying, it could have been inadvertent, and I still could have scored it for Figueiredo.
That affected him badly, though.
Oh, yes.
He almost puked and lost.
Yes.
You lose when you puke.
Yes. I'm with you there. But that aside, I mean, you still had one judge give it to Figueiredo. You still had a couple people scoring it for Figueiredo. It could have gone that way. With, Holland, again, I'm not mad that he won. I think that's okay, but it was close. And I personally scored it for Stewart. So I think that negated it for me, but I get what you're saying in terms of officially on the record, he didn't win every fight. I can see that. Matt, what do you think about Mr. Riggs's defense here, so to speak?
I get the point about, he was in a draw, but a draw isn't a loss. And a draw in a fight of the year contender as well. I mean, I don't know if that's enough to knock him out of the number 1 spot for me, especially considering we're talking about a champion. We're not talking about a guy that's, trying to break into the top 5 or whatever in Kevin Holland. So that's enough for me to keep him at number 1. Even though I do kind of like the explanation a little bit. I'll give you some credit there, Drake.
I'll take it.
Well, I mean, we seem to have been swayed that we're okay with Drake making the pick that he did. It seems that we're good with it. Let us know in the comments if you agree with Drake's picks. If you agree with ours, let us know whose side you on. Is there somebody else you thought that should have won Fighter of the Year? Let us know. We want to hear it in case we miss somebody. We do make mistakes here. It's almost never happened. I can't think of a time it's ever happened, actually. But, we might have made a mistake. This might be the first one. So let us know. That being said, anything to wrap this one up, boys?
I will just give an honorable mention to my third pick of this year for Fighter of the Year. Was Charles Oliveira, because we're talking about a guy who has, I think, 8 losses on his record, throughout his career in the UFC. And this year he looked like an undefeated title challenger. Like, he just looked like he's stepped his game up so much higher than what we previously thought. Everyone had him pegged as like this guy that's going to eventually be a champion in this division. And this year he came out and looked every bit that part. So for me, definitely deserves some recognition in this conversation.
I mean, that's a fair point. Drake, anything to wrap up on that end?
No, I completely agree. Charles Oliveira I think he was my third. Yeah, phenomenal. I absolutely loved, I've loved everything he's been doing on this recent run and everything. But I think we should also give some love to Jan Blachowicz, who really surprised everybody completely by, becoming the champion of all things. And just the way he did it too, with the knockouts over Corey Anderson and then Dominic Reyes. just really a sensational and, pretty much an underappreciated year considering everybody else, the years that they've had. But he definitely deserves a mention, maybe not the win, but, give him some love, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. Yeah, to look back at Jan's year, it seems like a lot of people almost forgot about him in these conversations, right? Because it's been a while. Obviously, he won the belt, not that long ago, but it just seems strange because Jones wasn't in the picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, you had him, just knock out Corey Anderson, just completely, which, sidelined Corey Anderson. It was such a hard hit, right? It was a whole thing. And then you had, him knock out Reyes, who I think a lot of us thought beat Jones and looked very good. Had never really even been rocked as far as I remembered in a fight to my memory. And then he just straight up knocked him out. That was a crazy performance for Jan, in my opinion. So I agree he deserves some love. Also, all good with the Oliveira love because I think a lot of people slept on him, especially against Ferguson. And then he went out there and looked, as Matt said, like an undefeated fighter. So again, let us know in the comments and make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. And until next year, boys, until next year.